Going to start the video by doing a quick refresh from last night's video to see if this did tick down. Let's see. It did. It ticked down 27 when I recorded yesterday's video. I just refreshed the browser as I'm sitting down to do this video. We've ticked down to 20, extreme fear. In this video, we're going to look at charts. I want to look at the Bitcoin charts, kind of an update in terms of what we actually just talked about yesterday. I really want to look at altcoin charts. There's so much fear in the market. Things are looking so bad at a surface level. I have a smile on my face though, because I'm kind of going through the data. I'm kind of going through where we are in cycles, and I'm just getting excited. And I want to try and break this down in a realistic, non-hopium way. This is unemotional. This is just data-driven. There's a reason I'm a long-term macro investor, and I want to kind of share that with you. So if you're out there, hit the subscribe and like on the way in, and let's just jump into the video. Before we dive into these charts, we're going to look at Bitcoin. I want to look at altcoin charts and really kind of talk about the altcoin bull market, why it's not happened yet, and the signal that it's likely going to be happening soon. And it's not that I'm saying this is not hopium. I want to start here. This is kind of a narrative that seems to be taking over, but it's not even such a narrative. I think the Trump administration is telling us exactly what their playbook is. So $7 trillion, and this is so important, everybody. I know it's not charts. We're going to get to the charts, but this is so important if you're on the macro and you're looking for crypto gains. $7 trillion US debt is the reason why Trump wants stock market to crash hard. His playbook: crash stocks, pump bond market, and force rate cuts. These things are all in motion right now. So the US government has to refinance $7 trillion of debt in the next 6 months. There's no way Trump wants to refinance it at current 10-year yields. So this is why he wants stock market to crash, pump the bond prices. As bond prices will go up, yields will come down, and the US government will be able to refinance their debt at cheap rate. It's kind of like this powerful starting point that Trump wants to kind of get the government to. Not only that, lower bond yields will also push the Fed to do rate cuts, which is bullish for risk on assets. And we're going to talk about this alongside the M2 money supply growth that we're seeing. Don't panic. And that plays right into the altcoin bull market and lower cap coins. Not only lower cap coins, lower cap stocks. And I'm going to explain that in just a moment. Don't panic over the short term and look at the longer picture. This is me. This is how I'm looking at things. There are a lot of people that are panicking on the short term. They're like thinking Trump is ruining the markets, everything's terrible. But I am telling you, and time will tell. We can look back whether this is the right take or not. But I'm telling you, everybody, I think what is coming together right now is probably the most powerful thing that we could have coming together for a bull market that has not even happened yet. Bull market is not over. Mega pump still coming. This was a great post. It really simply sums up what's going on. And this clip from February 2nd, I think it's telling in terms of playing into what we just read.
We may have short term a little pain, and people understand that. But long term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country.
This is the other thing. I voted for this. I'll be completely upfront. I voted for this. The U.S. being taken advantage of for years, no longer. And I think U.S. is shifting to a power position, and this is very good for markets. So here's the U.S. dollar. One thing I want to track, and then I'm going to look at Bitcoin price on the short term. We're going to try and get an idea of is there going to be some short-term support? What's that looking like? And then we're going to look at those altcoin charts, which I'm very excited to look at. But US dollar right now. Again, if you've been watching my channel, we've been talking about since Trump came into office, like up here in this area, the potential for just a reflection of his first term. And this is continuing to play out. And I don't want to keep harping on that, but I want to make a note of something. Back here in his first term, you can kind of see January 20th, somewhere in here, right? It starts falling. The 20-week moving average, the 50-week moving average, and then the 200-week moving average all the way down here. But if we look at where this dollar has fallen so far, just notice it's fallen in like the last week or so below the 20 and below the 50. And so if you go back to that last term for President Trump, kind of like in this move right here, that weekly candle falling below and away from that 50 week, right? And if we even go and we kind of open up the RSI, you can see even a similarity in terms of where we are in the RSI, right around 41 on that RSI. And if we go back to when that move was happening back here, check this out. Right around, as it's falling below the 20 and the 50, right around 37, right? So we're in that similar vibe in terms of momentum of the US dollar right now as all of these things are coming into play. So let's look at Bitcoin analysis on the short and kind of the long term. And then I want to talk about the US money supply growth and why that ties into the altcoin bull market that has not happened yet, but I think is going to happen. So Bitcoin on the weekly, just as a refresher, it is this. Bitcoin is doing exactly what we've anticipated, really from like somewhere back here in these swing highs. We broke the massive inverse head and shoulder neckline, right? We're getting that throwback that we've been anticipating. Put aside all of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Put aside all of the headlines that you see about tariffs and this and that. This move could be happening even if we're just like in a non-headline world. Nothing's going on. Things are just trading. You know, sometimes we get in those environments. There's a lot of drama going on, and this is happening, but this could happen without the drama. So this is a very simple, normal technical move. And if you see this neckline has not even really been hit, and that for me is kind of like, and we've talked about this, there could be more downside. That 50-week moving average in the mid 70s. This pain that we're in right now could get worse. But I will tell you right now, even as that happens, I become increasingly bullish. That's just me. Because I see the global race that is happening for Bitcoin. I see the altcoin adoption that is happening from an institutional perspective, and finally the implementation of the tech of the solid blockchains like Cardano, for instance, Chainlink. We are at the beginning of a new era, and so if we're going to fall into oversold, just crazy high fear environment while all of those things are happening, so be it. But if we want to get a sense of, if you really want to watch the short-term price action, I've talked about this in last night's video. You know, when we get capitulations and we're bottoming out, it lasts a while and it's choppy, right? And we never know what it'll look like. And that's where we are right now. And so I think one of the biggest things that I talked about, obviously, in last night's video was on the very short term, if the daily candle on Bitcoin kind of starts closing lower, which it is, and we start seeing a bounce off of a higher low RSI, that could be some bullish divergence we want to pay attention to. But we can keep an eye on that. But to the downside, I wanted to do this because I know markets are kind of like freaked out right now with the move. How low is Bitcoin going to go? I very simply wanted to take the Fibonacci from this last 8-month consolidation, swing low, to the swing high, all-time high for Bitcoin, and I wanted to plot the higher low Fibonacci. This has been such a useful tool for me over the years. It is around a 618, and this is in the environment, right? Trump's talking about things getting, short-term pain, long-term gain. Markets are talking about that a little bit as well. The data is suggesting it. So if things get worse for Bitcoin and we need to capitulate into some higher low support area, what does that look like? 71,000 is the 618. The 786, 62,000, everybody. $62,000. I will say, if we revisit that Fibonacci, right, and we're looking at what, 71. I'm on the weekly, but I just want to plot it. 71 to, what did I say, 62. If we revisit that area, I just want to look back on Bitcoin charts, and I do want to say that that's not the prettiest move here on the weekly. Falling below the 20 and the 50-week moving average, if you look back on bull markets for Bitcoin, that has not happened in a bull market. And, I'd want to be very careful in that environment. The one thing I'm having trouble with in saying, that's the beginning of the bear market, that's bear market confirmation, the one reason, and it's not because I refuse to believe something like that, it's because of this. And it's because of how the cycles are a little bit misaligned. We're running late in terms of, money printers and in terms of the monetary cycle. And those are the things that are getting ready to happen. So it's going to be very tough, even if we're getting, this move to this higher low. And there's no guarantee we get there. Maybe we see support at the 50-week moving average, 75,000. Maybe capitulation below, we wick down to 71, and then we actually close a weekly candle above. We can watch. But these things are coming together in an environment where there's too much bullishness potentially in play for Bitcoin to fall into a bear market, right? So let's pivot and talk about some of these things, including how this plays into altcoin markets. And we're going to look at the altcoin charts. So US money supply growth is accelerating. It could signal a huge change coming. And this was from yesterday, coming in the stock market. Just a few points I want to read over, and then we're going to look at the chart. At some point, the mega cap stocks that have led the market over the last 2+ years, and you can think of Bitcoin in this regard. Bitcoin has been outperforming. We've seen Bitcoin dominance just make a huge move to the upside. Will start lagging. Talking about mega caps will start lagging as smaller companies pick up the slack. So this M2 money supply starts increasing. We go into this new cycle. Smaller caps, think altcoin season, altcoin bull market. Finally picking up the slack and making some moves. And one market indicator suggests that change could be right around the corner, along with everything else we've just talked about, right around the corner after some short-term pain. So going back to this, and then we'll look at the chart. One factor that's given the biggest companies in the stock market unfair advantages in recent years has been the tightening money supply. M2 money supply is a measure of all the cash people have on hand, all the money deposited in checking and savings accounts, and other short-term investments like small value certificates of deposits like CDs maturing within a year. Despite significant economic uncertainty leading to much more caution at the Federal Reserve, investors still expect the Fed to lower borrowing rates further in 2025. And here we go. Accelerating growth in the money supply is historically correlated with broadening stock performance. As smaller companies have easier and less expensive access to capital, they can invest more in their own growth initiatives. This is what is coming. This is what altcoin markets need. This is what it's not had. So when we look at the altcoin chart and subscribe, turn notifications on. I'm probably later on today going to do more of an in-depth altcoin video. Maybe I'll cover Ethereum charts, Cardano, maybe XRP. I want to look at these charts. But if you just look from the last parabolic move, we went into a bear market, kind of exited bear market, and we've just been consolidating literally since 2021 around the same area, $1 trillion market cap for altcoins. I can't even express to you enough how bullish the confluence of all the macroeconomic data we just talked about, the confluence with that and this chart, and this has been like years, a full cycle worth of reaccumulation, right? And just accumulation on the altcoin charts, on the altcoin markets. It's not had the bull market. So if we go back to last cycle, you just think about all of this is kind of like where we are. We've not had this move. And so I don't know exactly where the bottom may be for altcoins if crypto is going to continue falling before we really start getting that bullish macroeconomic shift, the increase of the M2 money supply and interest rates coming down, and these things that really, the ingredients that make a parabolic move. I don't know how far or how low we'd go, but I will just tell you one thing. From the bear market lows in March 2023 to the summer 2023 higher low to the summer 2024 higher low to where we are right now, I am just hanging out. I am just preparing. I am just planning. That is my approach to these markets as things are truly coming together. We're not in an environment where, we're right here and we don't have interest rates getting ready to, start coming down. Right now, we have quantitative tightening getting ready to come to an end, right? We're not here in cycles. As much as people want to look at a chart and be like, oh man, double top, it's over. If you can take into account the factors in play right now, we are getting ready for the move. And I know it's delayed. This is really historically where it should have started if we have a repeat of cycles. And it didn't happen. And we're down for months. But again, it is what it is. We have to live with it. And we have to plan around it. But I am telling you, I think the best is yet to come for this cycle. And if we can just endure the pain in this move and in the short term, I think it will pay off very big. The 200-week moving average right around $850 billion market cap. Want to make a note of it, but we'll do kind of a deeper analysis maybe later today on altcoins. These are my thoughts today as we get the week started. Choppy, fear, but this is where opportunity lies, especially if you're a macro person. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you cruising through. Hit the subscribe and like, turn notifications on. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.